Hello architects and welcome back to another RPG Architect tutorial. My name is Bert and today we're back in our 2D project, the good old greatest game ever made, because we're going to be working on data entries. Now data entries is something I've seen hanging out in the database for a little while and I never really paid much mind but until recently, and I asked Locke what it was about. And data entries is a great little tool for creating things like bestiaries or quest logs or story logs. Like I know Final Fantasy 13 did that, where you had the data logs or whatever, whereas as story progresses you get new entries to help you keep track of what was going on in that game, because nobody knows still. Anyway, so data entries is a great little tool for that. So first thing I want to do, actually, we have data entries and data entry types. Let's go over to data entry types and resize this. This is really just for categorization. This is really just to help you keep things organized in this other section. So you can create different categories like I said, bestiary, quest logs, story logs, etc., etc. Anything else you can think of as well that you'd use this. Now when you fill those out and we come over to data entries, let's resize. Let's create 4 entries. Now you can see here we can set up our name, we can set our type, which is what we just created, bestiary, quest logs, story logs. And then you also have the parent entries. So if you were doing something like story logs, parent entries would be good. So it's like you'd have chapter 2 be or chapter 1 be a parent of chapter 2 or 3 and 4 and stuff. You'd need it's like a prerequisite for the following entries. So considering we're doing a bestiary today, we won't really need the parent entries, but it's just something to make note of there. So anyway, so let's set up a name for our first entry. We're going to just do a blob. We're going to do a blob, we're going to do a rat, we're going to do a bat, and we're going to do the man himself, Gooble Gobble. We're going to set all of these to type bestiary. Okay, and also real quick, you can note that there's conditions down here. If you were to set up like a scan skill, or you have to, defeat an enemy in a certain way to unlock their entry, you can set up conditions here, and it's just basically locking things behind a switch or a variable or anything like that. So you can set that up if you would like. One day I'm sure I'll set up a tutorial for creating a scan ability, but for right now let's just leave conditions blank. Now when you have your entries set up here, you can see over on the right side, let me minimize this. On the right side we have strings, sprites and models, and tags. Strings are just text values, sprites and models is the picture, and then tags we can it'll be a little bit more in depth, but essentially like strings, right? So let's use strings to create a description and then maybe a location. So let's do two strings here, right? The first one we'll set up will be our location, and then the second one will be our description. So let's see, the blob will be in a sewer, and his description will be just a blob. That's all. Obviously you can go more in depth, you can write a full paragraph here if you would like, but this will be fine for now. So just a blob, that's all. We're gonna go to sprites and models, resize this, add 1. I'm going to be using the Tyler Warren battlers. They are now included in RPGA. And if you don't have them in your project already, let me just show you. Go to OK. If you don't have them in your project but you want to add them, you just go up here to Tools, Import Resource Packages, and then select them here, as well as the serif circle animations. Those were added recently as well. But anyway, I've got them in there already, so let's go back. Sprites and models for the blob. And I think this one was called the slime. Here we go. So just do that. We'll select its full picture. Bam, there we go. And then for tags, I'm gonna use a tag called class, and the value will be I don't know, slime. We'll just call it slime. So this way, if you have a bunch of entries, or it's like a green blob or a king blob, red slime, blue slime, whatever, you can just set one class called slime and refer to them all that way. You'll see. So that's that for him. Let's set up everything for the rest of our entries. So it's location and description, 2 strings. Location will be sewer / cave. Description is fond of cheese. And let's set up a sprite. And I think he doesn't have a rat, but he does have a mouse. Here we go. Our mouse image, there we go. And then class, we'll set up tag class. Value is rodent, sure. Let's go to our bat, set our strings. So the location will be cave / forest. And then description will be bats are just flying rats. There we go. Set up our picture. I think it's gray bat. Here we go. Tag class value is going to be, we'll just say he's a rodent also because they're just flying rats. Okay. And then Google Gobble. Location will be town, and description is the man, the myth, the legend. His sprite is gonna be the Lich King version 2 because he has the sword. Hit OK. Set up a tag for his class. We'll say humanoid. There we go. Okay, so now we've got the information filled out for all our data entries. What can we do with this? We're going to create a user interface, my favorite thing, and we're going to call all these strings and sprites and tags and whatnot. So let's go to user interface. I've done just a little bit of work ahead of time, not much, but we have a new bestiary entry here. All I did was I dragged in like a background and then these panes to build off of. And then make sure you set your user interface type to menu, and then scrolling down over here, set the context to data entries. Make sure you do those. And then the only other thing I did was under my main menu, this entry was configure, and I just changed it to extra. So this will be where our bestiary resides for right now, and then when you execute, it opens menu bestiary. That's all I did ahead of time. You guys have seen me do this before. If not, go back and watch my other user interface tutorials. They are a lot of fun. So that being said, let's go ahead to our bestiary and let's add a templated list. We're going to call this the monster list. This monster list is going to be a text component, and this text component will say this is the list, and over here we're going to use template on the right. We're going to type in name. Now you see it populated up top here, so now we just got to get these into place. This is going to be the list of names on this left side of entries that we will scroll through, and it will update the information on the right. That is what we were going for. So I just changed the font size and make it a little bit more readable. Let's do, let's do this. On the left, template type is data entry. Make sure you set that. We're gonna set a cursor, classic cursor, our red arrow, and then pointer type is left. And then let's go to item details. Set our width to 100 because we just want a single column here. And then we're going to set our relative height to 10. And then we're going to scroll down further and we're going to set our relative X to like 10. Yep. And then 15, 18, somewhere about there. Just get this in place. And then we can maybe bring our height down a little bit. Nah, maybe not that much. Let's do 85, 80. Let's do 80. That's fine. And let's maybe take him up a bit. Something about like that. Okay. You guys know I start to tweak out when I'm making menus. Let's offset our cursor just a little bit, like negative 10 and -5-ish. About like that, just getting the cursor lined up more over there. Okay, and then that's mostly it for our templated list, the monster list. We do have to set one thing in the item focused menu, but we need to create a new templated list first and call this monster info. And now before I forget, because there's a good chance I will, I'm gonna go back to my monster list and item focused. I'm gonna set user interface element context. The value is going to be my monster info, and I'm going to use current selection context. So what this is going to do is on our monster info templated list, we're going to set up our sprite, we're going to set up our name, our description, all that stuff we filled out in data entries is going to pop up over here. And as we scroll through our monster list, we want it to update the information over here without having to select it, without having to select the first entry and then back out and then scroll down and select the second entry in order for it to update over here. We just want it to just update as we scroll. We're not even gonna have the cursor over here on the right side at all, right? So that's what this is about, is as we scroll down, it will update over here automatically, okay? I just wanted to do that real quick before I forgot. There was a very good chance that would happen. So let's go to monster info. Let us set this to template type data entry. And let's start off with a picture. Let's do our sprite. Use template on sprite. We're gonna type in character models. You see it populates there, and then go into the brackets and hit 0. Okay, and now we just need to get this set up, this proportioned right. So let's scroll down on our left side. Item details, the relative width and height is going to be 100, and then we want to slide this whole thing over. First, actually, let's set our relative width and height. Let's do 25. Let's do 25 and 35. And then set our relative X to, that's way too much, 90, nope, 75. Let's, about there, 55, and then drop it down. Something about like that, that'll be fine. But yeah, so our enemy bestiary entry sprite will just pop up in this region. If you want it to be bigger, you can set it to the size you want it. This is fine for right now, so. And then I think that is it for this. So let's go ahead and add in a new component. We're going to do text. This one is going to be name. We're going to set the font size to 36, and much like our name over here, we're going to use template, type in name. You can see it populated right here. And then let's just use the positioning on the right side here to get it underneath of our picture. So 60. Nope, let's do, there we go, 110, that's fine. That'll work. I'm gonna copy and paste this entry, and then just to keep that same rough positioning, we're gonna call this one location, and our template, rather than name, our first string was our location, right? So let's do strings, type this in, and then in the bracket it's going to be 0 because it was our first entry, was our string 0 was our location. And then we got to, you can see it's all jumbled here, so we need to reposition our strings. Let's do 125, perfect. And then let's actually change this one to like a green color, just because we can. So we got our name, we got our location. Let's copy and paste this again. Let's do the class next. So let's do a class. Now instead of string, we're gonna use tags. And then in our tag bracket, we're gonna put in class. Let's change this to, let's make this a red, or like a purple. Let's make it a purple so it doesn't look Christmassy. And then drop it down 140, 145, 143. There we go. And then let's copy the name and paste it at the bottom, below it all. And this is going to be strings 1. This will be our description. I just copied the name because it was the white text. I just wanted to go back to white text. Let's drop it down to 150, 160 maybe. 160, okay. So there we go. We have our sprite. We're gonna have our name. We're gonna have our location, the tag called, and our strings, or our description. There we go. And I think for description, I'm gonna use word wrapping so that there's no weirdness there. I think that's everything. So let's check this out and make sure I did it right. Okay, we are in our project. We have our nice little portrait there from the last one. Let's go down to extra. There we go. We got blob, sewer, slime, just a blob, that's all. And then I'm gonna scroll down and it updates our sprite. It updates all the information really. Font of cheese, whoops. Cave, forest, bat, rodent. I probably should have capitalized them in the tags there, but that's okay. But yeah, so there you go. There you have it. That is what you can do with data entries. It's one very rudimentary example of what you can do. It may be better to use tags for stuff like locations and whatnot. I don't know. I just wanted to show you that you can do different strings and column. There may be a bit more of an organized way to do it than I did, but I just wanted to show you how you could set it up through your user interfaces and using the strings and different tags and whatnot. So anyway, I think that is going to do it for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. If you did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think of RPGA. Let us know of how you think we're doing on this channel or on the engine in general. We're still in early access. Be sure to grab a copy before we hit 1.0. You can see there's a ton you can do already with RPGA. It is a great little engine, especially for people like me who don't know how to code, and I don't know, it works for me, right? So if you've enjoyed my tutorials, if you enjoyed my commentary, and you would like to support me further, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/bitbybitsound. It helps me out a ton. It helps me to be able to continue to do these tutorials. It's a huge help. So yeah, if you are able to support and you would like to, and you'd like to get a ton of music to use in your project and your games, then please check it out. You will not be disappointed. There's a lot of good stuff happening over there. Okay? So anyway, that's going to do it for me today. I hope you've enjoyed. You've been amazing. I have been Bert, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.